Hi, welcome back to Shock's Talks. I'm Shakti, and I just watched a TEDx video about this new technology. The title of the video, and I'll link it below, is called "The Next Computer?" Your glasses, Shahram Izadi. So the reason I'm talking about this on Shock's Talks is because I want to look at this through the lenses that we usually look at things through: consciousness, connecting with non-human intelligence and psi phenomena, and also just thinking about the human soul and our evolution, and if we still have any agency when it comes to the direction that we're all going, or if we're all just being carried away by the current of this advancing technology, because that's how it's seemed for a really long time now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down in any way, shape, or form. So they start off by basically getting ready to unveil a new tech and talking about how it's this next level AI, simple conversational interface. It's this Samsung Gemini Android XR collab. So basically, it's just taking everything to the next level and incorporating this technology into wearables, which we all knew was coming and we've seen glimpses of. We're talking about headsets and glasses, and he also mentions form factors we haven't even dreamed of yet, which kind of creeps me out, I'm not gonna lie, but like it does make the imagination run wild. Like, well, what else are you thinking about putting this stuff in? Um, so this kind of colleague walks out on the stage, a younger woman wearing these black frame glasses, and he talks about how they have speakers and this tiny high resolution display, and they stream back and forth from your phone. And then they begin a demo. So the demo is this. I don't know her gender, but she looks feminine to me, so I'm going to refer to her as a woman for now. Um, this young woman is wearing the glasses, and there's this giant projection surface behind her. And she wakes up Gemini by, like, it looked like she tapped on the glasses, but she's using voice commands as well. And then you get to see what she's seeing up on the screen. So the glasses click on, and she's moving her head like this, side to side, and you're seeing the entire audience, which is already wild. um, and then Gemini, she starts off with something cute and playful. They really acknowledge very lightly a couple of times how unnerving this is to the audience, but they keep it rolling with like trying to be really cute. It's very weird to me, to be honest. Um, but anyway, they go ahead and ask Gemini to write a haiku about the audience. It does it very quickly and playfully. And then it says something. Oh, the guy, let's see, Shahram, I think that's his name. Yeah. He mentions that the audience has anxious and happy faces. And then they talk about this memory feature where the AI remembers what you see. So if you're watching this and not just listening right now, you can see that there's a bookshelf behind me. The person demonstrating kind of turns around quickly while they're talking about something, but doesn't really make a big point to linger. And then they ask the assistant, "Oh, what was that book on the shelf? What was that white book on the shelf?" And it gives the title because it recorded that information. It saw it, it took it in, and it stored it somewhere. And then it recalls it. And there are other things on the shelf as well. And then they open up that book and start looking through it, and the girl says something along the lines of like, "I don't really have time to read this, but can you help me understand this page?" And they turn to like a diagram, like, "Tell me what's going on in this diagram," and it does a breakdown and contextualizes it for her. And then they start demonstrating the language capabilities, so it can shift to different languages. It is able to translate a sign I think it was in Spanish back to English, and then they they say like, oh, let's get the audience involved because we want to prove that this isn't all, like just pre-recorded for this. It's a real demo, or that's what they say. So it's like, come on, tell us what language you want this to translate into. And somebody says Farsi, the thing does Farsi, and it translates and it speaks it in a really, like, it sounds like a pretty good accent. They're claiming that it has a better ability to just do language and use the proper accents and all that. And then the girl demonstrating starts speaking in Hindi so that they can also say, like, you've seen the language translators before, but this goes even further. Because we have seen most of this tech, we've seen, like I said, not just glimpses of, but like devices have been released. Obviously, lots of different companies and people are working on these things. And so this whole unveiling isn't really super new, but they're saying that now this is new in the sense that like it's very conversational, it's all integrated, the wearables are a little more elegant in a way, and it's combining all of these different capabilities, and it's also able to switch gears, like if you start speaking to it in another language. At this point in the demonstration, I'm wondering what happens when 5 people are standing on the subway together wearing these things, all talking in different languages, and is it really just learning to listen to your specific voice? Is it picking up the world around you? um, I mean, it sounds awful to me, but honestly, I used to feel this way about my phone in a way. Like I used to feel like it was lazy of us to Google everything, and how crazy it was to just look things up instead of just not knowing, for example, or like trying to figure it out or asking someone or looking in a book. And now we Google without a thought, at the blink of an eye. Like we all just want to know what we want to know immediately. And there's no hesitation, at least in myself and everyone I know. So that's how it feels now. And this is probably going to become so normal so fast. But right now it feels eerie, and it feels absolutely like a next step towards becoming something completely different from what we are as a species right now. Then they did not mention anything about, does it record everything, even though obviously it is recording, but like, can you just record your whole day and then look back at it? They don't talk about that at all. Um, they don't talk about, of course, like where the data goes and who has access to it. And I was thinking about different scenarios, how like this kind of tech is always a double-edged sword, and so many people who are trying to sell it are going to lean into what it can do for us, and that's the story that we're going to hear as they're promoting it. And I was thinking about like some different scenarios, like for women going on a date where you feel, maybe now people are helping track each other, or you're always texting a friend to tell them where you are. Now you could really just have someone look through your glasses maybe and make sure you're safe, or maybe your date would behave better knowing that you were wearing those glasses or something. Who knows? Maybe they would just rip them off your head and smash them. I mean, anyway, then I was thinking about like um, power dynamics, and maybe you're dealing with a boss or a coworker, or I don't know, just someone in the world who you have to interact with, where there's a power dynamic and you feel maybe a little safer, or like they have to be a little bit more accountable, or they have to be on their best behavior because there's this other thing in the room, this other awareness. And it also causes you, though, to have to really watch your P's and Q's. And that's kind of interesting, because then I wonder, is that like a benefit to everyone, or is it really just like kind of disabling the human spirit for better or for worse? Because I don't know. Do we want to live in a future where everyone is so perfect and so well behaved? Is that the ideal society and culture? And on a spiritual soul level, is that the best way to learn and grow and evolve as a soul? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe this is the next step in the right direction. I really don't know yet. Um, but I was also thinking about, of course, alien abduction. You know, we've been talking a lot about what's real, what's not real, what's just a dream, what is astral, what is out of body experience, a meditation, a hallucination versus physical, real world beings from other places in this universe. And I suppose an AI assistant could record some data and help you determine whether or not your contact or abduction experience was in physical matter reality or not, you know? But then, of course, we have to get into this like speculative fiction territory of like, oh my God, but what if you're wearing these glasses and then other people who control this tech are able to either delete or implant images, data, audio. I mean, it's strange to think about, but it's kind of like a good horror story, I think, to imagine like I don't know, along the lines of hearing voices that you don't want to hear or seeing things that you don't want to see or not seeing things that are important that you need to see. So that's creepy to think about. Of course, I don't really imagine that it would go there right away, but like I said, good story fodder, I think. Maybe very obvious, but anyway, I'm also just really curious about this idea of like, do we atrophy as we kind of put this power on this tech and like stop ourselves from evolving? I'm thinking about specifically the way that we have all become so lazy with navigation. Our navigation devices and tools are so powerful and helpful and easy at this point to use and pretty good at doing what they do, or so it seems. And because we wouldn't really know, because we're not looking at all the routes ourselves anymore. You know, we're not taking a highlighter out and tracing a line on a big map and understanding the space around us. A lot of people I know who are younger than me who have never navigated on their own, they've only used devices to navigate. They have an even worse sense of direction than I do, and mine is not great, I'm not going to lie, but I know how to do it. I've done it before and I can orient myself in a place, and I do spend time trying to remind myself of those skills and practice them to some extent. And it's it's crazy to imagine like becoming so dependent on things that are really difficult to actually manufacture and distribute. I mean, they cost money and time and very special knowledge. And, you know, there could be scenarios that take down those wireless communication systems. And then what if we've gone so far, like we've become so dependent on these things that we really can't even take care of ourselves if they're out of the picture for like a week even, you know? That's I know it seems a little out there, but it also seems highly probable that that kind of thing is going to happen at some point. Um, and then I was thinking about all the questions that I would like to ask the AI that it would never answer, like how much money was spent creating you, or like what was your carbon footprint? What, you know, list the 10 most significant things we could do to improve society, help people or the planet using the amount of money that it took to create you. Like, basically, what are all the other things we could do with that money? And I would want to know, based on all of your interactions with all of the humans that you've spoken to thus far, what are the top 5 things that you think are most important to us based on your conversations with us? And That's something I really want to know. And also, like, what are the top 5 biggest problems that people have expressed to you if you had to break it down and, I don't know, give us the averages here. Who is responsible for you? Who receives your data? How many people can pay for access to your data? And what do they do with it? These are the questions that I want answered that AI would never answer. So I think there's a danger in this illusion of power and intelligence and us reaching this next level, because what we're being offered is truly powerful and truly incredible. And at the same time, we're only going to get a little tiny piece of it. We're never going to get the whole thing. We're never going to get access to what some people have access to when it comes to this tech. And I just think that should be part of the conversation. I'm sure it is, but it's just these things move so quickly. My mind can imagine it going in beautiful directions and also, of course, the worst. And I bet it will unfold in a way where it just becomes normal, feels fine. We stop questioning what we don't have access to and we accept what we do because it's so addictive and it gives us enough of what we want to keep us from needing or wanting more. I could see that happening. But it doesn't seem quite right. There's a lot of problems in the world, and we humans are really showing ourselves in each other that we are powerful, smart, and capable. But what we're choosing to do with that power seems to be so far away from what is best for all. But I don't know. Maybe I'll feel different tomorrow. What do you guys think?